there's a very good way to move past a conflict with somebody, especially something that's been a long-standing conflict. And that is to move beyond time. What do I mean when I say that? I mean to honor the instincts of the moment as they play themselves out with the person with whom you're speaking. Relationships of all sorts, the more complex they are, the more this happens, become increasingly dysfunctional when people indicate that they're not there for each other, when they would cheat the other, when they would do anything that causes an issue. Both parties then develop egos, and they are each aware and defensive against the other ego's motives and tactics. So nothing of trust is ever exchanged. They keep each other at a distance if they ever do interact. This can happen between siblings, it can happen between parents and children, between people in a romantic relationship, between any two friends, between people in opposing companies, people from opposing nations. It could be any two people or two groups of people. I want to keep it simple to two people, just to illustrate the point more simply. When I say move beyond time, I mean access the power of the present moment, which does not mean abandoning your position. It doesn't mean giving in to the other person. It doesn't mean losing. It simply means rising above your anticipated goals, rising above what you're trying to get out of the situation, whether it's to attack the person further or defend your position. It means entering a space of shared commonality, of shared togetherness, and then tackling the problem together. What the result may be, we don't know, but you have to trust. And you have to trust that it's better than waiting years, decades, lifetimes to heal a problem. If you look, and I'm sure you've seen this in your life, there are people who, for decades, don't like each other, keep each other at a distance, don't trust each other, repeatedly hurt each other. And every time they try to apologize, if they even try, quickly again the relationship becomes dysfunctional. People go to their deathbeds with a lot of enemies that were not necessary to have as enemies. You can have people who disagree with you. You can have people who hate you. You don't need to hate them back. You can move beyond whatever your ego is telling you about what you're trying to get out of the situation, and then touch into a power that comes from beyond our own limited and narrow minds, a power that can create a better solution, that can actually merge the two parts that were previously disparate. When that power is accessed, problems severely reduce. And more importantly than the problems themselves, the problems don't matter as much as they seem. When people have two opposing egos, they put problems in between each other, and each one, recruits more and more problems from the shared past history, the various grievances. You did this to me, you did this to me, or you said this to me, you said this to me. And then they have many, many, many fearful scenarios that play out in their minds when they're thinking about engaging with the other person. And so it's just a bad situation. Nothing good comes out of it. And they're on guard, they don't enjoy it. And again, the problems are not the primary concern here. It could be money, it could be arguments, like philosophical points, it could be anything. And those problems may not be solved. They may not be. It's irrelevant, honestly, compared to the power of working together to be with each other. If you previously had a money issue and the money issue doesn't change, now it's just a situation. It's not something that you hate somebody for. It's not something that is stored in a painful, grievance-based place that just hurts you and makes you seek to dominate, control, hate the other person, win the next time you talk to them, get your way with them, control the situation. That stuff feels very good to an ego, but the ego only thrives on pain. The ego only, it builds itself up more and more when it doesn't feel connectivity with anything deeper than its own self, with anything deeper than the rigid and narrow ways that it looks at things and the fearful ways it looks at things. When you have connection with somebody else, a power from the universe comes and solves a situation. It gives you the power to solve the situation, and then you can do it. You simply have to look beyond picking up more and more pieces of information to use against the other person. Look beyond whatever foul goal there may be at work, normally based in possessiveness or gaining something or preventing yourself from losing something, all fear-based things, and then simply allow the interaction to be and see what comes of it. If something in you wants to heal the situation, there's a very good chance that something in the other person wants to heal it too. So why wouldn't you work together? Why wouldn't you look beyond the narrow aims of your own mind and then find a better solution? When people don't operate like this, when people hold on to their grievances, they find themselves in increasingly solidifying states of pain. And it can happen individually, it can happen collectively. There are nations that have been at war with each other for decades, and groups of people for hundreds of years, and they just never forget. They never forget what happened, and they never are able to stop recreating the same scenario over and over and over. The solution begins within you when you access the power of the present and simply look at the other person and say, or just engage with them. You don't need to say anything. It's not about words. It's not about anything you can plan, in honesty. So this is to help people avoid decades of bad relationships, to avoid decades of grievances, decades of resentment, decades of closing off to more and more people because you've been hurt so badly. The healing can take place at an extremely strong level and at an extremely fast pace, much faster than you might think if you're cautious about it. When you dive into it, amazing things can happen. And it will go, honestly, truly, as fast as you're willing to perceive it and as fast as you're willing to allow it to work on you, truly. Like, as much as you would allow your ego to be dismantled and dislodged by it. And you can't undo the ego. You simply have to look beyond it. Allow the present, allow the relationship to change with that person. We all have work to do in this regard. It's not whatever problems you may have are not unique. I mean, they're unique to your life and your situation, but every single person has a problem of a similar type with a different person, but it all feels the same when you have resentment, grievance, fear, and so forth with relation to another person. But the good thing is that with the power of the present moment, with following our instincts, and with trusting in the moment, we can heal a whole lot of things.